Tonight, we return to Atlantis, the legendary city beneath still waters, where ancient marble streets, glowing canals, and gentle routines shape the rhythm of life. This sleep story is part of the Sleepy Voyager series, created to help you relax, slow down, and ease into restful sleep with soothing soundscapes and cinematic storytelling. If this is your first visit, make sure to subscribe and tap the bell so you never miss a peaceful journey like this. And before the story begins, let us know where you're listening from. Our Sleepy Voyager community drifts off from every part of the world, and it's always beautiful to see how far Atlantis reaches. Now, take a gentle breath, let your muscles relax, and come with us into the calm heart of Atlantis, where one teenage boy's quiet day begins. Harbor bells ring once, soft and round, and the water answers with a small, gentle splash. Cool air moves through marble columns, and a fountain whispers in a bright, clear voice. In this quiet, Thalos wakes in his bed and listens. He is 15, calm and curious. Today is a simple day. He will eat warm bread, walk under arches, learn in the open air, and watch the sea glow as evening comes. The city waits with slow light and easy steps. The canals shine under stone bridges. The night will bring stars. For now, the morning is kind and near. Thalos opens his eyes to a soft blue light on the wall. It comes through carved shutters and lands on a mosaic floor. Little tiles show waves and fish. The lines look like they move when the breeze moves the shutters. He lies still and feels the cool sheet against his skin. He hears the fountain in the atrium, a steady fall that never hurries. A harbor bell rings again, far away and slow. Between the bell notes, the house is quiet. He takes a breath that matches the space. He sits up. The stone under his feet is smooth and cool. He likes how the floor holds the night's chill. It makes the morning feel fresh. He runs a hand over his hair. It is wavy and still a little salty from yesterday's swim. The air smells faintly of the sea and of something warm from the kitchen. He stands and moves to his doorway. The linen of his nightcloth brushes his knees with a soft sound. He steps into the atrium. A small square pool waits at the center with a fountain in the middle. Marble columns stand around it and hold a strip of shade. A laurel tree in a clay pot lifts shiny green leaves. A clay lamp sits in a wall niche, cold now, with clean oil inside. The fountain slips down the carved bowl and makes tiny rings on the surface. He places his fingers in the water, lifts his hand, and touches his forehead. It is a small morning habit. It feels right. He walks to his wooden chest. Inside are his clothes, folded neat. He lifts a simple linen tunic. It is light and pale, smooth to his touch. He sets it on the bed and picks up his narrow braided belt. The belt is soft from use. His sandals sit by the chest, the leather straps flexible and warm from yesterday's sun. His blue wool cloak hangs on a peg near the door, waiting for evening. He smiles when he looks at it. Night will be cool, and the cloak will feel good on his shoulders. He dresses. The tunic falls to his knees. He ties the belt so it rests flat. He slides his feet into the sandals and smooths the straps with his thumbs. He stands straight and breathes once, slow and easy. The fountain keeps time for him. In, out, he feels calm. He feels ready for a simple day. A kind smell drifts from the kitchen. Bread, a little honey, and a hint of olive oil. He also catches a note of goat cheese and the green scent of thyme hung to dry. His stomach lifts with a gentle hunger. He picks up a small clay cup from a shelf and turns it in his hand. The clay is smooth, and a small wave mark runs around the rim. He walks under the colonnade that circles the atrium. The floor has tiny dips from many feet. He passes a bronze disc on the wall. It shows small stars and a ring of waves. He touches the edge of the disc with one finger. The metal is cool. He looks up at the square of sky above the pool. A gull passes, a white shape that crosses the blue and is gone. At the kitchen arch, he pauses. He likes to stop and look back before he goes on. The laurel's shadow lies across the floor, soft and thin. A fig bowl sits on the low table, the fruit still wearing a pale bloom from morning. The lamp's oil is clear in the niche. He listens. The house breathes like a quiet person. The fountain speaks in a small, silver voice. A bell down by the harbor answers with a low, round note. He smiles to himself. The city is waking. He steps into the kitchen. The hearthstone holds gentle heat. A barley loaf rests on a board, its top brushed with oil. He places his hand over it and feels the warmth rise. He breaks the loaf and hears a soft crackle. The crumb is tender. He pours a little water into the cup and drinks. It is cool and tastes faintly of stone. He imagines sitting by the fountain with his parents, sharing bread and figs. He thinks of the day ahead, the academy courtyard, the teacher's chalk, a line of poetry, a bit of geometry, a quiet riddle to carry. He takes a small plate and sets a few slices of bread on it. He adds 2 figs and a tiny dish of honey. He will bring these to the low table in the courtyard. He looks at the doorway and takes a slow breath. He likes to move without rush. His footfalls sound soft on stone. He hears sandals in the side hall. His father's steps are easy and sure. His mother's steps are lighter and even. He pauses one more moment by the fountain. A bead of water sits at the rim, shines, and drops. He watches the circle widen and fade. It is a simple thing, and it feels like a good beginning. He feels the house around him, the columns, the bowl, the leaves, the lamp, the cool stone, the quiet air. He holds the plate steady with 2 hands. The morning is soft. The day is wide. He turns toward breakfast, toward kind voices and warm bread, and steps into the gentle light. Thalos steps into the courtyard with the plate. The fountain's voice is light and steady. The laurel tree lifts its leaves into the morning air. 2 cushions sit by the low table. His mother is there already, setting out a small bowl of olives and a crock of goat cheese. She looks up and gives him a warm smile. "Good morning, my tide," she says in a soft voice. "Good morning," he answers and sets the bread and figs down. The scent is gentle and kind. His father arrives a breath later, sandals quiet on the stone. He carries a clay jug with watered milk. He moves with calm steps and rests the jug by the cups. "The bell is slow today," he says. "It leaves a good space for breath." Thalos nods. "I like the space," he says. They sit. His mother breaks a piece of warm barley bread and places it on his plate. She adds a spoon of honey and a small curl of cheese. "Eat while it is soft," she murmurs. He takes a bite. The bread is tender and a little sweet at the edge where honey meets the crumb. The cheese is cool and mild. He feels the food settle like quiet light in his chest. "Thank you," he says. They eat with long pauses. The fountain fills the pauses so they feel full and easy. A gull calls far above the square of sky, then glides away. A harbor bell answers with one round note. The sound rolls through the columns and fades into the morning. His father pours milk into the cups. The liquid surface holds steady. "A simple riddle for your walk," he says, eyes kind. "If a ring is 3 hands thick and the steps rise in 5, how many paces between the south porch columns when the shade is kind?" Thalos lets the word sit. He does not chase the number. He pictures the porch, the shade, the steps, and how his feet will feel on warm stone. 7, he says after a short breath, but the 7th step is light. His father's mouth warms at the corner. "A good answer," he says. "You used your breath, not only your head." His mother tears a fig in half. The inside is a small red flower. She places one half on Thalos's plate. "Bring home one line you like from your lessons," she says. "We can set it by the lamp tonight." "I will," he says. "A line that feels calm." She nods. "Calm is the best kind." A small wind moves through the colonnade and touches the laurel leaves. They tilt and show the paler green of their undersides. The shadow moves like slow water over the floor's mosaic border. Thalos watches a tiny drop form on the fountain's lip, shine, and fall back into the pool. The circle widens and fades. He feels his shoulders loosen a little more. His father lifts an olive, rolls it between finger and thumb, and sets it on his tongue. "The harbor was quiet when I passed the gate," he says. "Oars moved like sighs, nets rested like folded wings." "I will stop there later," Thalos says. "I want to listen to the masts and watch the water glow." His mother looks pleased. "Ask Mara if she has small olives for tonight," she says, "and 2 figs with the bloom still on them, if she will part with them." "I can," he says. "She is kind in the evening." They share a few olives, briny and smooth. He takes another piece of bread and dips it into the honey. The honey stretches in a slow thread and breaks. The bite is bright and round. He takes a sip of milk. It is cool and mild, a good balance to the sweet. "Your teacher," his father says, "does he still tap the slate when a line needs air?" Thalos smiles. He does. One soft tap, then he waits. "Good," his father says. "Waiting teaches as much as words." His mother's eyes shine with gentle humor. "And will you wait for the moon tonight? Or will the moon wait for you?" Thalos looks up at the square of sky, already pale and clear. "We will meet at the middle," he says, "at the dome." They fall into a quiet stretch, the kind that makes the food taste richer. Thalos places his palm on the cool stone near the table and feels the night still living inside it. The fountain gives a lighter splash, then returns to its steady fall. He notices his breath matching it again without trying. His mother rises and goes to the fountain shelf. She lifts the little ladle, catches a thin stream of water, and touches it to her forehead. She closes her eyes for a heartbeat. Then she offers the ladle to Thalos. He stands, takes it, and repeats the gesture. The cool touch wakes his skin and then warms. He hands the ladle to his father, who does the same. No one speaks. The pause says enough. They clear the table together. Thalos stacks plates. His mother gathers fig stems. His father tips the last sip of milk into the vine pot so the roots will have a small drink. The simple tasks feel good in hand and mind. At the gate, His father rests a hand on Thalos's shoulder. The touch is light and sure. "Walk in shade when the sun rises," he says. "I will," Thalos answers. His mother smooths a strap of his sandal. "Listen for kind voices," she says, "and for the space between them." "I will listen," he says, and means it. He lifts the latch. The street beyond is fresh with morning light, and sounds rise like soft birds, quiet steps, a broom, a far-off lyre. He looks back once at the fountain, at the lamp in the niche, at his parents' gentle faces. Then he steps out, and the day takes his hand. The city hums low and kind. The canal's glow waits around the bend. The academy is not far. He walks with easy breath, ready to learn and to carry one calm line home. Thalos steps into the street and feels the day meet him with soft light. The paving stones hold a cool touch from night. A calm breeze brings the smell of bread and sea. He turns toward the canal and keeps to the shade of a long colonnade. The columns throw slow bands of shadow on the ground. Between the columns, water moves with a gentle shine. Bronze rings and dolphin carvings line the edge like quiet guards. He passes a small bridge with a neat arch. Under it, the canal glows in thin threads of pale green. The glow is not bright. It is like a soft breath under the surface, moving with the water's slow pulse. A bell rings once from the harbor. The glow gives a faint answer, a ripple that tightens and then falls open again. Thalos rests his fingers on the warm stone rail and listens. Inhale in the gap. Exhale with the bell. The world seems to match him, and he likes that feeling. A baker turns a flatbread on a paddle. The crust gives a light sigh. The baker's wife dusts flour from her hands and nods to Thalos. "Peace to your morning," she says. "And to yours," he answers with a small bow. At a stall, an old woman sets out cups she made herself. The clay is smooth and painted with blue dots. She sees him looking, then lifts one cup and places it back down with care. "For cool water," she says, "so it tastes like stone and shade." He smiles and thanks her, then moves on. A boy his age carries rushes over his shoulder. The ends whisper as he walks. Two fishermen sit on low stools and mend a net with steady hands. The net looks like a pattern of tiny windows. One man glances up. "The tide was kind to us," he says, not to boast, just to share. "I heard the bell speak of it," Thalos says. The fisherman's mouth lifts at the corner. He nods and goes back to his work. At the next curve, a gardener tends a planter of thyme and marjoram. Her hands are dark with soil, and her eyes are bright and patient. She sees Thalos and breaks a small sprig. She offers it to him without a word. He bows his head, takes it in both hands, and brings the green scent to his nose. It is clean and clear. "Thank you," he says. He tucks the sprig into his belt. A narrow stair leads down to the water. Turtles float by the steps, eyes calm, shells like smooth stones. Thalos sits on the top step for a moment. A skiff slides past, the oar making a slow stroke that leaves a thin line of light. He watches the line fade. He rests his palm on the step beside him. The stone is warm where the sun has found it, and cool in the shade. The change feels nice on his skin. A girl in a pale tunic crosses a nearby bridge with her mother. Thalos knows her face from the harbor. She looks over, not shy, just gentle. "Good morning," she says, her voice as soft as shade. "Good morning," he replies. He does not add more. He does not need to. Her smile is small and steady. Then she walks on. The moment sits in him like a warm pebble, simple and safe. He rises and keeps moving along the canal ring. Bronze statues stand at the corners, a child with a shell, a woman pouring water, an athlete at rest. Their surfaces glow like warm honey in the new light. Ropes hang coiled on hooks, and their fibers smell of salt and sun. A cat steps along the wall, tail high, careful feet touching stone, and then stopping to watch a fish turn below. A lyre plays 3 notes from a shaded doorway. The sound hangs like a ribbon and goes still. Thalos hums the same 3 notes under his breath. He wants to keep them for later, for his line by the lamp. He pictures how the notes fit between a bell and a breath. He crosses another bridge, and the city opens a little. Here, the canal splits and joins again, making a small square of water. The center holds a floating garden bed with reeds and small white flowers. A breeze moves the reed tops like slow brushes on silk. Light under the water wakes and sleeps. He finds the pace without trying. 1 step in shade, 1 step in light. Inhale in shade, exhale in light. He feels his shoulders drop and stay there. Ahead, the Academy arch shows itself. The stone is carved with shallow dolphins and stars. A small bell hangs there, wrapped in cloth so it will not ring loud. It moves a little with the wind and gives only a hint of sound, as if to say, "Be gentle here." Thalos rests his hand on the warm jamb as he passes through. He looks back once at the canal and its soft glow, the bridge curve, the floating garden, and the turtle heads like quiet coins. Inside, the shade of the peristyle gathers around him. He hears chalk scratch somewhere. He smells oil from a lamp and a faint touch of laurel. The time at his belt gives a calm breath of green. He lets the canal's slow rhythm settle into his chest, then steps into the courtyard, ready to listen, ready to learn, carrying water's soft light in his mind. Shade wraps the courtyard like a soft cloak. A low olive tree stands in a clay jar at the center, leaves bright in 1 square of sun. Benches circle the space. A slate rests on a stand near a pillar. A lyre sits on the steps with a strip of wool across its string so it will not ring too loud. Thalos takes a seat near the pillar carved with shallow wave marks. The time in his belt gives a calm green scent each time he breathes. Their teacher arrives with quiet steps. He is tall, with silver at his temples and kind lines near his eyes. He lifts a wax tablet. "Good morning," he says, voice low and even. "We begin with a small poem you can feel in your breath." He reads a simple verse about a bell, a space, and the sea that waits and answers. The lines are short, the pauses are long. The rhythm makes the chest rise and fall without effort. "Write it once," he says, "and leave room for air." Styluses scratch softly. Thalos copies the lines in a slow hand. He presses lightly so the words sit smooth in the wax. He hears a small breeze move across the courtyard, then rest. Nico shifts on the bench beside him and glances over with a playful look. Sarah, across the square, listens with her chin in her hand, the corner of her mouth warm. The teacher walks between the benches, looking without hurry. He pauses by Thalos and nods. "Your spacing is kind," he says. "You let the words breathe." Thalos feels a quiet pride, like a little light in his chest. He keeps his head down and keeps writing. A bell from the harbor rolls up the hill. The teacher lifts a finger and waits for the sound to fade. "Do you hear the gap after the bell?" he asks. That space is as important as the note. Put that space in your lines. Put it in your walking. Put it in your thinking. He sets his tablet aside and takes a piece of chalk. On the slate, he draws a temple front, 3 steps, a base, 6 columns, a flat band, and a little triangle roof. Geometry, he says, is the calm breath inside stone. He taps the 3 steps, 3 for the earth. He draws 5 even spaces between the columns, 5 for the path the eye walks. He marks the span between 2 columns and waits. How many paces between these two when the sun stands here? He asks and points to the left. The class is quiet. Thalos feels his father's morning riddle return. He imagines shade on the porch floor. He imagines his feet on warm stone. 7, he says, gentle but sure. The 7th step is light. The teacher's eyes warm. Yes, he says. Measure with your breath. Numbers live there, and they are not in a hurry. Nico bumps Thalos's elbow softly, a friendly sign. Sarah looks down and writes, then looks up with a small nod. They move on to the sky. The teacher draws a circle, places a crescent on the side, and sets a tiny cluster near the rim. Tonight, he says, the moon will be a silver boat. There's a dim group of stars to the west. They come forward if you look beside them. Let your eyes rest. Let the edge of your sight do the seeing. Thalos raises his hand. Master, if water listens to the moon, do we listen to the moon through the water? The teacher smiles. Yes, when the harbor is calm, it is a soft ear. We read the sky on its surface. We can do the same in our chest. The breath is a harbor. A cloud slides over the sun for a moment, the light changes, and the courtyard feels even quieter. The lyre on the steps glows dully under the wool strip. The teacher lifts it, strums once with the cloth still in place. The sound is small and round, like a drop touching water. 1 line each, he says. Only 1. Make it true and let it breathe. Thalos writes. The bell leaves room for water. He looks at the words, then smooths the wax around them so the line sits clean and calm. Nico mutters, the shade counts better than I do, and grins. Sarah speaks her line in a hush. The lyre rests, and the song is still here. The teacher nods to both. A breeze moves the olive leaves. The teacher sets the lyre down and opens his hands to the class. We have done enough, he says. Go carry a quiet thing from this room to the next place you step. Pay with calm attention for what the city gives you. Benches scrape lightly as students rise. Thalos closes his tablet and sets the stylus in its groove. He stands and turns once in place to see the whole space, slate with soft chalk dust, olive leaves like little flames in the sun square, pillars holding a cool ring of shade. The harbor bell sends one last low note that reaches the courtyard like a hand placed gently on the shoulder. Sarah meets him at the arch. Save your line, she says. Trade later? I'll keep it, he says. I'll listen for yours. Nico leans in as they walk toward the outer gate. 7 paces, he whispers, amused. I'll count with my feet. Thalos smiles. Count with your breath, he says. They part at the colonnade. Thalos rests his palm on the warm jam, then steps back into the city's light, carrying his single line, the teacher's slow voice, and the easy shape of the temple in his mind. The time in his belt lifts a clean scent. The canal waits just beyond, shining softly, as if it had been listening to the lesson too. The path from the academy turns to small gravel under his sandals. The sound is soft, like rain far away. Cypress trees rise on each side, tall and dark, and they smell clean and warm in the sun. Ahead, the sacred public garden opens like a calm square. Stone paths cross the grass, low beds of herbs grow in neat rows. A shallow pool lies at the center, bright and still, holding the pale sky like a piece of glass. Thalos steps into the shade of a cypress and feels the air cool his skin. He walks to the pool and kneels. The water is clear. He can see pale stone at the bottom with thin lines like a map. He dips his fingers, then touches his forehead. The cool wakes him, and then it fades into gentle warmth. He whispers, "Thank you," in his mind. He does not rush. A temple worker sweeps the path with a palm broom. Her robe is simple and clean. She pauses and smiles at him. "The shade is kind today," she says. "It is," Thalos answers. "I will sit a while." He finds a bench under the cypress. The stone is cool even at midday. He opens his small satchel and takes out his meal. There's a clay bowl with lentil stew, a round of barley bread, a small fig leaf covering a stoppered vial of olive oil, and a tiny pouch with 2 dates. He sets them out in a neat line. The smell of the stew is warm and earthy. He removes the fig leaf and lets 3 drops of oil fall into the bowl. The oil spreads in soft circles and rests. He breaks the bread and dips a piece. He waits a heartbeat for the stew to soak in, then eats. The taste is simple and good. The oil makes it smooth. He feels the food settle in a steady way. He dips again. He eats slowly. A breeze moves across the pool and carries the scent of citrus blossoms from the far row of trees. 2 children sit by the path and trade orange slices, whispering and smiling so they will not disturb the quiet. The temple worker comes closer and lifts one hand toward the pool. "You can leave a small thought here," she says gently. "The water holds thoughts without breaking them." Thalos touches the thyme sprig tucked in his belt. He nods. "I have one," he says, "from the morning." She nods back and moves on, the broom making a soft whisper on the stone. A bell from the harbor reaches the garden, round and low. Between that note and the next, birds hop along the edge of the pool and drink. The sound of their small beaks touching water is like tiny taps. Thalos finishes the stew and wipes the bowl with the last bit of bread. He eats one date, then the other. They are rich and sweet, like soft honey. He stands and carries the thyme to the pool's shallow shelf, where other simple gifts rest. A laurel leaf, a small shell, a petal. He sets the sprig down. Its reflection looks like a second sprig living under glass. The water makes a small lap against the stone, and then it is still again. He returns to the bench and folds his cloak as a cushion. He lies on his side, one arm under his head, the other hand resting on the bench edge. A carved groove runs there to let rain drain away. He follows it with one finger. It feels like a shallow river in stone. His breath slows. His eyes grow heavy. The cypress above him makes thin shadows that sway and then rest. He watches one shadow on the bench until it stops moving and becomes part of the stone. He lets the garden guide him. Toes loosen, calves grow warm and heavy, knees settle, his belly is soft, his chest moves like a slow tide. The air smells of herbs and jasmine. The pool holds the sky without a ripple. He hears the broom again, far off now, and a quiet murmur as someone pours water from a clay cup. A lyre plays 3 notes beyond the wall. The notes hang and then fade. His thoughts spread thin and light. He feels safe. Sleep comes like a soft cloth over his eyes. He dreams a small dream. In it, the mosaic back home glows and shifts. The fish tiles become stars for a moment, then become fish again and swim away. The pool becomes the harbor, and the harbor becomes the sky. He is floating in both at once. A bell rings underwater and also in the air. He breathes in the space between. He wakes when sunlight has moved a little. It is warm on his shoulder, but still cool on the bench. He stretches his legs and sits up slowly. His head feels clear. His body feels light and steady. He drinks a small sip from the jug at the public spout. The water tastes clean with a touch of stone. He goes to the pool and touches his forehead once more. Cool, then warm. On his way to the gate, the temple worker lifts her eyes. "Did you rest well?" she asks. "I did," he says. "Thank you for the quiet." "The garden helped," she says. "It likes being listened to." Thalos smiles, bows a little, and steps back into the sun. The path slopes toward the harbor. He hears ropes and soft voices ahead. The sea air meets him with a kind hand. He walks with easy breath, carrying the garden's calm like a small light inside his chest. The lane slopes down, and the harbor opens in a wide, calm curve. Stone quays form clean rings around smooth water. Bronze gates at the mouth shine with soft lines of fish and waves. Masts stand like a quiet grove. Ropes creak a little. Oars lift and drip in slow rhythm. The air smells of salt, tar, and sun-warmed wood. Thalos slows his steps to match the water's pace. He stops by a mooring post shaped like a dolphin. The bronze is warm under his palm. A small trader boat drifts nearby. Its hull is dark cedar. 2 oars rise and fall, leaving thin ribbons of pale light behind them. The glow fades as the ripples spread and smooth out. A bell from the outer ring sends one round note across the water. The light under the boat answers with a soft pulse, then settles again. Thalos watches and breathes with it. Inhale in the quiet, exhale with the pulse. A harbor clerk sits on a low stool, tablet in hand. He wears a short mantle and a calm smile. "Good afternoon," he says. "The tide is gentle today." "It sounds gentle," Thalos answers. "The boats move like they hear a lullaby." "They do," the clerk says. He marks a line on his tablet, then looks up. "Listen for the small knocks too. They tell you how the ropes feel." A short clack sounds as 2 masts touch and then drift apart. The clerk gives a small nod, pleased by the simple order of it. 2 fishermen mend a net farther along. The mesh lies across their knees, neat and even. "Good harvest this morning," one says, glancing up. The water was in a kind mood. "I heard it in the bell," Thalos replies. The man smiles with his eyes and goes back to his steady stitch and pull. Near a ramp, workers slide amphorae onto a wooden sled. The jars have small painted marks, a pomegranate, a crescent, a cluster of dots. One jar sings a soft clay tone when it touches down. "Citrus," a trader says in a friendly way, noticing Thalos looking. The grove scent its best. He lifts the jar with care. The scent of the crate beside him hints at lemons under leaves. A sailmaker checks seams on a folded sail. He rubs linen between his palms and hums 3 notes that match the bell's calm spacing. Thalos carries the tune in his head. It fits with his single line from the academy, and it feels right to keep both. He walks to the edge of the outer quay and studies the bronze gates. Beyond them, the sea shows a clear, flat line. Larger ships wait at anchor, their hulls steady, sails tied down in smooth rolls. Between the inner ring and the gate, skiffs pass like quiet thoughts. Each oar stroke writes a pale mark that fades as the water accepts it. Footsteps approach in a small cluster. A family moves along the quay, hands linked. Among them is the girl from the bridge. Her tunic is cream-colored and her hair is tied with a blue ribbon. She meets his eyes. "Hello," she says, voice low. "Hello," Thalos answers, just as soft. The moment is simple. It fills and rests. She turns with her family and walks on. He does not turn to follow with his gaze. He lets the warm, small feeling sit in him like smooth stone in a pocket. A turtle swims along the quay wall, head rising, then sinking. Its shell shines wet and dark. A boy points and laughs quietly, then covers his mouth so the sound stays gentle. The boy's father lifts him so he can see a little better, then sets him down again. Their steps fade into the soft sounds of rope, wood, and water. At the far end, basalt steps go down to a lower ledge. The stone is darker here and cool where shade rests. Seagrass moves like slow fingers near the edge. Thalos kneels and trails his hand in the water. It is crisp and kind on his skin. When he lifts his hand, drops fall in bright beads. They make tiny rings that widen and fade. He thinks of the cove beyond the quay, tucked into the rocks, quiet and private. A sailor sits on a coil of rope, rubbing oil into it with a cloth. "She's honest," the man says, meaning the harbor. "Give her steady hands and she gives you steady days." Thalos nods. "I think the water likes when we listen." The sailor's mouth turns in a small smile. "That's the whole trick," he says, "listening." A sloop glides in with short, even oar strokes. When the oars lift, the pale glow trails again, soft and thin. Thalos watches the light answer, never bright, never loud, always enough. A gull rides a high current and gives one quiet call. The sound drops like a small pebble and disappears into the wide hush. A breeze comes through the bronze gate and moves along the rings. It smells of open water and far places. It cools the skin of Thalos's cheeks and neck. He breathes it in and lets it go, slow and even. His thoughts feel lined up and smooth. The day still has room. He stands and looks once more at the boats, at the ropes, at the small marks of work and care that hold the harbor together. He turns toward the path that bends to the rocky inlet. The city sounds soften behind him. Ahead, the cove waits in shade. Basalt steps warm at the top and cool below. He touches the time at his belt and feels the clean scent rise. The water there will be clear. The stone will be sure. He walks on, easy and calm, ready to meet the quiet under the surface. The path bends behind a low ridge of rock. A quiet inlet opens like a small bowl of clear water and shade. Basalt steps run down into the sea. The top steps are warm from the sun. The lower steps are cool where the shadow rests. Seagrass drifts near the edges in thin green lines. The air smells clean, with salt and a soft kelp-like sweetness. Thalos pauses, listens, and feels the cove's slow pulse. He sets his satchel in a dry niche and unfastens his belt. His linen tunic comes off in one smooth motion. He folds it and places it on a flat, sun-warmed stone. He steps to the first cool step and lets his toes find the water. It is crisp, not sharp. He goes down another step. The water reaches his ankles, then his knees. He exhales. The sound of his breath blends with the soft lap of the cove. He lowers himself, chest and shoulders, until the water holds him up. He floats for a moment on his back. The sky is a quiet blue circle above the black rock. A gull passes, a white wing, then gone. He rolls and takes a slow stroke. He moves out over pale sand. The bottom is clear and close, patterned with bright lines made by the light. Small shells rest like tiny moons. He takes a breath and dives. The water closes over his ears. The sound becomes round and soft. A low arch of stone appears ahead. Fallen pieces of old walls lie there, covered in pale weed and soft coral. A broken column lies on its side. Its flutes are filled with thin fans that wave like gentle hands. He glides and lets his fingers hover, close but not touching. A piece of mosaic lies in the sand, only part of it showing. Blue, green, a bit of gold. A tiny fish passes. Its scales flash and go dim again. He lets a slow stream of air leave his mouth. Bubbles rise and twist. As they rise, a faint light wakes in the weed near them. The glow is very soft, like a thread of moonlight. It moves with the bubbles, then loosens and falls back. Thalos watches, calm and still. He releases another small ribbon of air. Again, the light lifts from the weed, coils once, and fades. It feels less like magic and more like the cove nodding hello. His lungs ask for air in a quiet way. He turns and strokes up. The surface breaks around him with a small, friendly sound. Sun warms his face. Shade cools his back. He rests one hand on a smooth ledge and breathes until everything feels even again. Drops fall from his hair and make tiny, round rings. The rings widen and vanish. He goes down again, a little farther this time. The water shifts to a deeper green. At the base of the arch, he finds a carved band on the lowest stones. The band is a repeating wave. The lines are worn but clear. He thinks of the temple friezes and the teacher's chalk. He feels the same quiet care in the hands that carved this long ago. He lets out a few more bubbles. The pale threads return, follow, and unwind. A small opening leads into a pocket no larger than a room. He does not go in. He stays near the light and the open water. He looks, learns the edges, and honors the place. He notices a curve of stone like a bowl. In it lie pebbles, a bit of pottery, and a round shell, each settled by the tide. He leaves them where they are. He glides back to the column on its side. A little crab peers from a groove and tucks in again. Thalos smiles in the water. He tilts his head and watches how the light lines bend around the broken flutes. The pattern looks like soft music on stone. He thinks of the academy lyre, muted by wool, and how the tone still found a way to be heard. His breath asks again. He rises and breaks the surface, then floats. He spreads his arms and lets the cove hold him. A breeze crosses the inlet and cools his face. The reed tips at the far edge move, then rest. From the harbor, the bell gives one calm note. The sound arrives as a feeling more than a noise. He exhale matches it without trying. He dives a last time, slow and smooth. He stops above the mosaic shard. The image is lost, but the colors keep a quiet truth. Sea blue, leaf green, warm sand. He opens his hand to the water, a small sign of thanks. The threads glow again and drift away. He turns and swims back to the steps. He climbs one step at a time. Water lines his arms and legs and falls in bright drops. The sun warms his skin, the breeze dries the rest. He runs his fingers through his hair. Salt makes soft waves settle. He puts on his tunic, ties his belt, and feels the easy weight of cloth again. He looks back at the cove. It looks the same. Plain stones, quiet water, a small arch, but he carries more of it now. He touches the rock at his side, warm on top, cool in the crack below. He nods, a simple goodbye, and turns toward the path. Evening waits up the slope, where temples hold the last light and the city glows like a slow breath. He steps into the shade, calm and sure. The path rises from the cove and meets the temple steps. The marble is warm where the sun still rests, and cool where the shadows have grown. Thalos places his foot in the shallow hollows worn by many feet. The steps feel sure and kind. He climbs at an easy pace. A light breeze moves across the terrace and brings a clean scent of resin and smoke from small braziers. Columns lift into the sky, tall and calm. Carved waves run along the base. Above them, a frieze shows dolphins under a row of tiny stars. In the soft light, the carvings look gentle, like lines drawn with a patient hand. Bronze doors hold the last glow of the day and turn from gold to amber as the sun slips lower. An acolyte passes with a small brazier. Resin burns in a thin blue thread. The scent is sweet and light. She dips her head to Thalos. "Evening be easy," she says in a quiet voice. "And your steps be steady," he answers, matching her calm. At the top, a priestess stands by a low lamp. The flame is steady and round. Her mantle is the color of wheat at dusk. She looks at him as if she recognizes the shape of his breath. "Do you carry a line from your day?" she asks. "Yes," Thalos says. "The bell leaves room for water." She points to a small shelf beside the lamp. On it sit a smooth pebble, a curled fig leaf, and a pale shell. "Leave your line here," she says. "It will rest with these simple things." He does not set down an object. He places the thought there in his mind. It feels real all the same. The lamp gives one soft blink and steadies again. He moves to the western porch. The city opens in front of him. Rings of canals shine with a mild, pale light. Bridges curve like gentle smiles. Roofs glow and then soften as the sun sinks. A bell from the harbor sends one slow note. The water answers with short, faint pulses that pass from ring to ring, like a whisper traveling through kind hands. He leans a forearm on a cool column and lets his gaze wander. He sees the market colonnade where he will walk later. He sees the harbor gates, bronze and open to the sea. He sees one skiff slide between shadows and light, the oars taking small sips from the surface. He sees a turtle rise near a step and then go down again. The sight makes him feel grounded and light at the same time. He thinks of the girl he met by the bridge. Her ribbon was blue. Her voice was gentle. He does not tell himself a story about it. He lets the warm feeling sit quietly, like a small lantern inside his chest. It gives enough light and asks for nothing. Two boys cross the forecourt carrying a jar between them. They move in step so the water inside will not spill. A guard dog stretches, yawns, and settles under a bench. Shadows grow long, cool, and straight, like strips of cloth laid across the stone. A moth turns once near the lamp and drifts away. Thalos walks along the temple flank to a basin where clear water waits. A young laurel grows beside it, bright and hopeful. He dips his fingers and touches his forehead, cool, then warm. He breathes out and feels his day fall into place, piece by piece. The bread, the poem, the steps, the cove, the soft threads of light, the arch, the slow bell. He follows a side stair down. The stone feels smooth and fair beneath his sandals. At the base, an inlaid border catches him for a moment. Blue triangles, sandy lozenges, a thin copper line. The pattern is simple and calm. It feels like a heartbeat with nothing to prove. He walks on, and the square opens to an avenue that leads toward home. Lanterns wake along the way, one and then another, like stars choosing to show themselves. Their flames sit steady inside clay guards. A woman lights a lamp at her door, waits to be sure it takes, then lifts her hand over the flame the way a person blocks wind for a friend. Far off, a lyre plays 3 soft notes. The sound pauses and fades. Thalos hums those notes under his breath and feels the dome's path rise in his mind. He passes under an arch where a carved wave meets a carved star. The 2 shapes look like they are speaking. The air cools a little more. It tastes clean and sweet, like water held in stone. Thalos slows and lets the city show its evening face. People walk in pairs, sandals quiet, words soft. A child carries a basket and looks proud. A cat sits on a step and blinks. He stops at a low wall where vines hang. The leaves are dark now, but the canal beyond them holds a faint, even glow. Fish turn below the surface like small, thoughtful commas. A small reed garden drifts near the far edge. The tops sway and rest. The glow under them makes a quiet pattern that matches his breathing. He takes one more look back at the temple. The porch holds the last trace of rose light, then lets it go. The lamp by the priestess burns in a round, even way. He feels the line he left at the shelf still there, and also here, in him. He turns toward the market crescent and the lane that leads to his gate. The evening has opened its hands. The city walks with him. The bell waits, then gives one soft note. He answers with an easy breath and a small smile, and he goes on. Thalos follows the avenue where lanterns glow in a soft line. The air is cool on his face. The stone under his sandals feels smooth and sure. To his left, the canal holds a pale, even light. It blinks gently when a bell far off sends a round note. He moves with the same calm rhythm, breath slow, steps easy. The small evening market sits in a crescent under a row of columns. Stalls are neat and close. Baskets hold dark and green olives. Figs rest in shallow trays, their skins dusky and soft. A baker's board shows round loaves brushed with oil. A potter's cloth has small cups set in a tidy row, glazed like clear lake water. Voices are low, movements are smooth. It is a kind place to stand and look. Mara, the olive seller, lifts her head. Her gray hair is tied back. Her eyes are bright. "Evening, Thalos," she says, voice warm. "For home?" "For home," he answers. "Small olives if you have them, and 2 figs with bloom if they will come with me." "They will," she says. She chooses olives with careful fingers and slides them into a palm-sized jar. The brine whispers as they settle. Then she studies the figs, turning each lightly. She picks 2 with a faint white bloom still on their skin. "These are gentle," she says. "They will keep their shape." "Thank you," Thalos says. He sets a few coins on her cloth. She pushes one back with a small shake of her head. "For the line you'll bring us later," she says, pleased. "I can hear it already." He smiles and tucks the jar and figs into his satchel. The strap lies soft across his shoulder. He steps to the bread stall. A round loaf sits near the front, still warm. The baker's son lifts it with both hands and passes it over. Heat hums through Thalos's fingers. The crust shines. "A good round," the boy says. "It slept well while it rose." "It looks calm," Thalos answers. He places the loaf into his satchel and nods his thanks. Across the lane, Parios, who fixes shutters and latches, stands with a basket. "Did the dome treat you well last night?" he asks, voice soft. "It did," Thalos says. "The small cluster on the west stayed a breath longer. I saw it." Parios smiles like a hinge set just right. "A breath can hold a lot," he says. "Tell your father his north window still whispers in a good way." "I will," Thalos says. They trade a small nod, then Thalos moves on. A potter with clay-dark hands lays out blue beads. One glossy bead sits a little apart. The potter picks it up, then places it in Thalos's palm. "For steady dreams," he says, "no price, just bring back a soft word when you have one." "I will," Thalos says. The bead is cool and then warm. He slides it into the inner fold of his belt for now. Footsteps tap in a friendly way. Nico comes up beside him with a grin. His hair still shows a salt curl at the edge. "7 paces?" Nico asks, a laugh under the words. "7, Thalos says, "and the 7th is light." Nico's eyes flash. "Sarah would make a song from that," he says. "Speak it later when she has her lyre." "We can trade lines," Thalos says. "I saved one." They walk together under the columns. The canal to their right sends up a faint, soft glow when a skiff passes. The oar makes a slow path, and the light follows like a thin ribbon. Nico points with his chin. "Even the water is careful tonight," he says. "It listens," Thalos says. Sarah appears near the far stall with a bundle of thin reeds in her arms. She lifts her hand in a small wave that feels like a smile. "Save me a star line," she says. "I have one," Thalos answers. "I'll bring it." "I'll give you a melody," she says, tapping the reeds like a quiet drum. 3 notes and a rest. Her eyes are bright and kind. She turns to go. Her steps are light. The reeds whisper against her sleeve. Nico leans closer. "She will steal the sky and give it back sweeter," he murmurs. "Good," Thalos says. "Then we can all sleep well." They part at the crescent's end. "Walk easy," Nico says. "And you," Thalos answers. Thalos crosses to a small herb table. The vendor, a woman with steady hands, lifts a fresh sprig of dill and a lemon with a thin, bright skin. "For fish?" she asks. "For fish," Thalos says. She wraps the dill in a fig leaf with a soft fold so it stays tender. He pays and thanks her. The lemon's scent touches the air, clean and sunny even in dusk. He turns toward home. The market's hush stays with him. Sandals slide softly on stone. The lanterns hold their steady circles. The canal glows in a patient way, like it knows the way and does not need to hurry. A cat steps across his path and pauses, then moves on, tail easy. At his gate, he stops a moment. He listens to the canal. He listens for the bell. He listens for the thin voice of the fountain inside. All 3 sounds meet and make one calm shape. He lifts the latch. The bronze is smooth and cool. The gate opens without a squeak. The courtyard greets him with soft light and water. The laurel leaves stir once and rest. He sets the olives, figs, bread, lemon, and dill on the low table. The air smells like warm clay and mint. He touches the bead in his belt and smiles. He breathes in, slow and full, then lets it go. Home answers back with quiet and care. The night bends closer, gentle and kind. Lanterns glow in the courtyard like small, steady moons. Their light is warm and gentle. The fountain speaks in a soft, silver voice. The laurel lifts and settles when the night breeze visits and then leaves. Thalos sets the bread, olives, figs, lemon, and dill on the low table. The clay bowls feel smooth under his hands. The air smells of oil, herbs, and cool stone. His mother brings a clay platter from the kitchen alcove. Grilled fish rests on slices of lemon with dill scattered over the top. The skin is crisp and thin. The flesh is pale and tender. Steam rises in a light curl and fades. "Sit," she says in a calm voice. "The evening is ready." They begin in simple steps. His mother tears a round piece of bread and passes it. His father lifts a fish with a flat wooden spoon and lays a tidy portion on Thalos's plate. Thalos adds a few olives and a pinch of goat cheese. He squeezes a touch of lemon over the fish. The sharp scent rises and then melts into the warm air. He takes a bite. The fish flakes. The dill tastes green and clean. The lemon gives a friendly spark that does not shout. The flavor settles like a soft lamp in his chest. His father pours tea. The stream is thin and steady. "Tell us a shape from your day," he says. Thalos swallows and lets a breath pass. "A line from the lesson," he says. The bell leaves room for water, and the temple steps felt like 7 paces with the last one light. He looks up. "Also the cove answered my breath with pale threads. It was very gentle." His mother's eyes warm. "You listened well," she says. "The sea likes that." She takes an olive, bites softly, and sets the pit on a small clay dish. "Did Mara find you with good fruit?" "She did," he says. He cuts one fig open and shows the red, seed-bright center. "She chose these with care." His father nods toward the harbor. "Did you watch the oars lift light?" he asks. "I did," Thalos says. The glow followed like a thin ribbon and then fell back. The gate wind smelled like open water. He takes another bite of fish and then a sip of tea. The mint is clear and cool. It smooths the taste of lemon and leaves a clean echo. They eat with long pauses. The lantern flames hold their small circles steady. The fountain drops its thread and gathers it again. Somewhere beyond the wall, a lyre hums 3 notes and then rests. The notes match the way the night feels. Soft, slow, sure. His mother sets a few pomegranate seeds into a small bowl. They shine like tiny rubies. "For bright dreams," she says, sliding the dish toward him, "and for the dome when you go." Thalos smiles. "I will bring home one quiet thing from the sky," he says. "I want to place it by the lamp." His father breaks a piece of crust and dips it in oil. "Do you remember," he asks his wife, "how the teacher used to tap the slate when we forgot to breathe?" She laughs in a soft whisper. "He still does," she says. "The tap is kind." Thalos nods. "He tapped today. We waited. Then the line felt better." He eats a pomegranate seed. It pops and tastes bright and sweet. The brightness fades into the tea's cool end, which feels like a door closing softly. They share the last of the fish. His mother brushes stray dill aside with the back of her knife and wipes the board with a damp cloth. Thalos gathers the olive pits and fig stems on the small dish. He lines them neatly like pebbles on a path. The order makes his mind feel smooth. "Tell me of your friend," his mother says. "Did you see Nico?" "I did," Thalos says. "We spoke of 7 paces. He may count with his feet. I asked him to count with his breath." He pauses. "I also saw Sarah. She asked for a star line. She will trade a melody." His father's eyes light with quiet humor. "Then a song and a star will sit at our table," he says. "That is a good trade." A small breeze moves across the courtyard and lifts the lamp flame just enough to remind them it is alive. The laurel leaves answer with a hush. Thalos looks to the niche. The lamp's clay is warm when he touches it. He speaks his line under his breath, only for the flame to hear. The bell leaves room for water. The flame steadies, as if it has heard and is pleased. They pour the last of the tea. The pot makes a small, empty sound when it is done. His mother folds the cloth and lays it flat. His father sets the cups together in a neat row. Thalos lays the blue bead back into his palm for a moment, feeling its smooth, cool weight. His mother stands and smooths the shoulder of his tunic. "Wear your cloak when you go," she says. "The hill will be cool." "I will," he says. He rises and gathers the breadboard and the small dish of pits. He carries them to the alcove, rinses his hands in a shallow bowl, and dries them on a linen cloth. The water on his skin turns warm as he rubs his fingers. When he returns, the courtyard feels even gentler, as if it were waiting for nothing but their ease. His father sets a hand on his shoulder, a brief, steady touch. "Bring back the quiet," he says. "I will," Thalos answers. He lifts his blue cloak from the peg. The wool is soft and holds a memory of sun and lamp. He drapes it across his shoulders and fastens the simple pin. The fountain sings in a low, even tone. The lanterns glow like small stars close to the ground. He looks once more at the table, the lemon rind bright on clay, a few crumbs on the board, the sheen on the oil dish, the neat row of cups. He takes a slow breath. The night is open and kind. He moves toward the gate with light steps, ready to climb the hill and meet the sky. Thalos steps into the lane. Night jasmine leans over the wall and shares a soft, sweet scent. His blue cloak is warm at the shoulders and cool at the edge. The stones under his sandals feel sure. The city behind him hums low, like a deep breath at rest. Ahead, the hill rises in gentle turns. He walks at an easy pace. A light wind moves along the path. It touches his face and then slides away. Lanterns hang from bronze hooks at even spaces. Each flame is small and calm inside its clay guard. Between the pools of light, the sky grows wide and dark, with a few stars already awake. He passes low garden walls. Lettuce leaves shine like small moons. Fennel fronds draw fine shadows across the path. A carved line on a stone shows a wave and a star side by side. He runs a finger over both. The marks are shallow and smooth. He lifts his hand and keeps moving. The road bends and the dome appears. It sits on a ring of marble, round and steady. Bronze ribs rise in soft arcs and meet at the open circle at the top. The oculus frames a deep piece of night. The first stars rest there like salt on dark cloth. Lamps at the base of the dome glow with an even light that does not push, only helps. An attendant waits by the threshold. His cloak is neat. His hair holds a quiet gray. His voice is low. "Welcome, Thalos," he says. "The sky is kind tonight." "Thank you," Thalos answers. I have come to sit with it. He touches the bead in his pocket, then sets it in a small niche where other tokens rest. A smooth pebble, a ring of reed, a folded strip of linen. For calm and clear sight, he says. A good wish, the attendant replies. The dome agrees. He lifts his hand toward the hall. Inside, the air is cool and simple. The floor is laid with pale stone. A dark inlay marks the compass lines, crossing in the center. Benches curve around the room. Their tops are smooth from many hands and backs. Lamps sit low and shaded, so their glow stays soft and close to the floor. Above, the oculus is a round window to the night. Thalos takes a seat near the center where the lines meet. He lets the cloak fall easy around him. He leans back and rests his shoulders. His breath slows without effort. He looks up. The moon is a narrow silver boat, low in the west. A faint cluster near it is hard to see at first, like a thought on the edge of the mind. The attendant steps over with quiet feet and stops a little distance away. Let your eyes look beside the dim lights, he says. The edge sees what the center chases. Thalos softens his gaze. The small cluster comes forward by not looking right at it. It gathers like dew. He smiles. I see it, he says, almost not speaking at all. Good, the attendant murmurs. Keep your breath easy. The sky likes patience. A light touch of city sound climbs the hill, a far laugh that stops quickly, the slow roll of a cartwheel, the whisper of water along stone. The dome holds those sounds and makes them softer. The bench holds Thalos like a kind hand at his back. The floor is cool under his sandals. He feels very safe. He lets his thoughts drift. The fountain at home, the laurel leaves turning, the teacher's chalk drawing a porch, the cove sending pale threads to greet his breath, the harbor gate and the thin ribbon of light behind an oar, the market's hush and the blue bead. All of it settles into one calm shape. Nothing asks for more. An astronomer moves in the shadows at the far bench. He adjusts a simple pointer set into the floor. Its tip catches a thin piece of moonlight. He nods once to Thalos from across the room, a small sign between quiet people. Thalos nods back. The moon lowers. The crescent slides toward the oculus edge. The dim cluster near it holds a breath longer than he expects, the way the astronomer promised on other nights. Thalos times it with his chest. Inhale, long, exhale, longer. The stars feel closer when he breathes like that. A thin cloud crosses high and faint. It does not hide the stars. It only softens them for a moment, then passes on. The lamps make no smoke. The air tastes clean, like cool stone and night flowers. Thalos shapes one line in his mind so he can bring it home. The small lights gather when the breath softens. He says it in silence once, then lets it sit. He does not hold it tight. He trusts it will stay. The attendant returns, trims a lamp with a quick, careful touch, then steps away. When you are ready, he says, the steps will carry you down. I will stay a little, Thalos answers. Then I will go. Good, the attendant says, and leaves him to the sky. The moon touches the oculus rim and slips beyond. The stars remain, steady and patient. Thalos rises slowly so he will not disturb the quiet he made with his body. The bench keeps a bit of his warmth. He places his palm on the smooth stone and thanks it, not with words, but with a small, easy breath. At the niche, the bead rests with the other tokens. He leaves it there tonight to keep the wish company. At the threshold, he and the attendant trade a soft nod. Outside, the lamps at the base of the dome glow like quiet coals. He starts down the path. The city below is a gentle map of light. Canals shine in thin lines, like ink drawn by a calm hand. A bell waits, then gives one round note. Thalos breathes in the open space after it, then lets the air go. The hill accepts his steps. The night opens and walks with him. He carries the one quiet line in his chest, clear and light. The steps bring Thalos to a small terrace where the dome's shadow meets open night. The stone keeps a cool touch. A low table holds a simple armillary. A clay cup sends up a thin curl of steam. An astronomer stands nearby, calm and gentle, as if he has been talking with the sky for a long time. "Your eyes are steady tonight," the astronomer says in a soft voice. "You found the dim cluster." Thalos nods. "I looked beside it, like you taught," he answers. "It came forward when I stopped chasing it." "Good," the astronomer says. "The edge of sight is a patient friend." He turns the armillary a little. Bronze rings glide with a quiet brush, like soft cloth on stone. The movement is careful, never fast. They stand shoulder to shoulder, faces tipped toward the sky. The crescent moon leans low, thin and clear. The canals below pulse with small light, gentle and even, as if the city were breathing with the stars. A bell far away waits, then gives one round note that sits in the air and then dissolves. Does the water keep time for the stars, or do the stars keep time for the water? Thalos asks. Both, the astronomer answers. Water reads the moon, and the moon writes with a slow hand. We read them both with our breath. He lifts the clay cup and pours a sip of mint tea into a second cup from a niche. He offers it. For a clear mind and a soft gaze. Thalos takes the cup and warms his hands. Thank you, he says. The mint is cool and sweet. It does not wake him more, it smooths him. He lets the steam touch his face and looks west, where the dim cluster rests near the moon's path. Hold your eyes a finger width to the side, the astronomer says. Count one slow breath after the bell. Thalos waits for the next note. It arrives round and low. He breathes in the space after it. He lets his eyes soften. There, he says, almost a whisper. The cluster stays a little longer than before, just long enough to notice. It feels like a friendly pause at a door. The astronomer smiles. A breath can hold a long visit, he says. He taps the armillary's outer ring once, light and kind. These circles talk. The sky prefers quiet listening. A moth drifts through the lamp's edge and turns away. The terrace stones hold steady cool beneath their sandals. Night jasmine slips into the air like a soft ribbon. The city's gentle murmur reaches them without hurry. Oars dipping, distant feet, a short laugh that stops itself and falls to silence again. If I wanted to remember the sky by touch, Thalos says, what should I carry? A smooth pebble for a star, a loop of thread for a path, and a reed for a line, the astronomer answers. Your hands will teach your eyes when clouds visit. He picks up the armillary again and turns a narrow ring. See this thin circle. It marks the sun's long road, but we do not rush to follow. We walk a few steps each night. Thalos breathes in and out, slow and easy. The dome above is quiet. The oculus frames a deep blue that is almost black. The dim cluster shifts a little. He feels his chest follow, like a boat moving with a small wave. He shapes a line in his mind, and tests it in silence. The small lights gather when the breath softens and the water remembers. "Say it once at your lamp," the astronomer murmurs, "and let it rest. If you forget, your breath will keep it and hand it back." The tea warms Thalos's fingers. He takes a small drink. The mint cools his mouth and then lets it be. He looks down the slope. The canals show thin strokes of pale light, like careful ink lines in a soft book. The harbor gates are dark and open. The sea beyond is a quiet plain. Sometimes the canals echo the constellations, the astronomer says, not to perform, only to agree. It happens when the whole city listens at the same time. It is rare and it is simple. Thalos nods. "I saw the oars carry a faint ribbon today," he says. "It felt like the water saying hello." "That is the right word," the astronomer replies. "Hello is enough." They stand without speaking. The bell waits, then calls, then rests again. The cluster holds its tiny pause. The moon leans toward the edge of the sky. The lamps by the dome do not flicker. The armilleri's shadow lies neat on the stone like a thin ring drawn by hand. "Will you write tonight?" the astronomer asks after a while. "Only one line," Thalos says. "I will set it by the lamp. I do not need more." The astronomer's eyes are kind. "Enough is a fine measure," he says. He reaches to take Thalos's empty cup and sets it back on the niche shelf. "Walk easy. The steps will be your friends." Thalos bows his head slightly. "Thank you for the company," he says. "Thank the night," the astronomer answers. "We only keep it gentle." Thalos looks once more at the dim cluster. It sits a heartbeat longer, then slips with the moon toward the horizon. He breathes with the bell's space, clear and slow. He turns to the path. The terrace stone holds one more cool touch. The city below opens like a calm hand. He begins the walk down, carrying the soft line in his chest, quiet and sure. Thalos follows the slope down from the terrace. Lanterns line the lane like small, quiet moons. The stones hold a cool touch. Night jasmine rests on the air in a soft, sweet way. The canal beside him moves with a steady glow, not bright, just enough to guide an easy step. He reaches his gate and pauses to listen. The bell waits, the canal whispers. Inside, a fountain speaks in a thin silver voice. All three sounds make one calm shape. He lifts the bronze latch. It is smooth and cool against his palm. The gate opens without a scrape. The courtyard meets him with warm light and water. Laurel leaves sway once, then settle. The fountain's thread falls into the low pool and softens the night. He sets his cloak on the bench, where the clay still holds a little heat from the lamps. He breathes out, and the breath seems to join the fountain's quiet song. He goes to the basin near the niche. The water is clear and still. He dips both hands and lifts them. Cool touches his fingers, his face, the back of his neck. The cool turns to gentle warmth on his skin. He feels the day ease off him and settle into the stones. He stands for a moment with wet hands open, then dries them on a folded linen cloth. The cloth smells clean and faintly of sun. His mother's step comes softly across the floor. She stands in the doorway, the lamplight drawing a gentle line along her sleeve. "Welcome home," she says, voice low and kind. "Thank you," Thalos answers. The night was clear. The dome was quiet. His father follows, calm and steady. He rests a hand on Thalos's shoulder. The touch is brief and warm. "Did you bring a quiet thing from the sky?" he asks. "I did," Thalos says, one line. He reaches for the small clay dish near the lamp where they keep notes. The dish's lip is smooth from many uses. He speaks the words softly first, so the flame will hear them before the clay does. The small lights gather when the breath softens. His mother smiles, and the lamp seems to glow a touch deeper, just for a moment. His father nods. A true line, he says. Place it there. Thalos sets the dish close to the lamp and repeats the line in a whisper. He lets the words sit, simple and neat, like a folded cloth. He does not add more. Enough feels right. The fountain answers with one brighter drop that clicks against the pool and then blends back into the thread. He steps into his room. Moonlight comes through the shutters in thin bars and makes a soft lattice on the mosaic floor. The little fish and waves look calm under the pale light. He places the blue bead on the low shelf beside his pillow, next to a smooth pebble and a small loop of reed. The bead catches a small point of lamp glow and holds it without shine. He sits on the bed and unties his sandals. The straps slip free with a gentle sound. The stone under his feet keeps a steady cool. He swings his legs up and lies back. The linen is clean and soft. His pillow remembers the shape of his head and gives a little. He pulls the sheet to his chest and lets his arms rest long at his sides. He listens to the house. There is the fountain's steady fall. There is the faint hush of the laurel outside. There is a small touch of wind at the shutter that comes and goes. He matches his breath to the quiet. Inhale in the open space. Exhale with the water. It takes no effort. It feels like walking a path he knows by heart. His mother's voice comes softly from the doorway. Sweet rest, she says. We will see you in the morning light. Sleep kindly, his father adds, a single even note. Good night, Thalos answers. The words feel whole. They do not need anything else. Footsteps fade. The courtyard returns to silence, held but not tight. He turns on his side, one hand finding the seam of the sheet. The seam is straight and even. He follows it with a fingertip, then lets it go. Toes loosen, calves grow warm and heavy, knees rest without holding. Hips settle into the mattress. His belly is soft, his chest floats easy and light. His throat is open, like the round oculus in the dome. His jaw fits well, his tongue rests wide and still. Eyelids lower with no push at all. He lets simple scenes pass in a soft order. Barley bread torn in the morning, chalk lines shaping a temple, time in a garden cool and green, oars lifting threads of glow, a quiet hello on a bridge, pale light rising in the cove with his breath, a lamp trimmed under the dome, the dim cluster holding one extra heartbeat at the rim of the sky. None of it asks him to think. Each picture opens and closes like a slow blink. The bell gives one distant note. Between this note and the next, the whole city rests. The canals hold their glow. The gates stand at ease. The harbor sleeps. The dome watches without strain. The fountain keeps its silver thread. In that wide space, Thalos feels the line he left by the lamp sit down inside him again and make a small, steady light. He takes one more easy breath and gives it back longer. The pillow supports him the way warm water holds a body. The sheet lies smooth. The room grows soft around the edges. The night leans closer, kind and patient. His breath becomes the quiet measure of the house. The house becomes the quiet measure of his breath. He sleeps. Moonlight slides in thin bars across the mosaic floor. The little fish and wave shapes lie quiet under the pale light. The fountain keeps its soft silver thread. Thalos rests on his side, one hand near the sheet's seam, the other open on the cool linen. The room holds a simple, steady hush. The air smells faintly of clay, clean cloth, and night jasmine drifting through the shutters. His breath follows an easy path. Inhale, the chest rises a little. Exhale, the belly softens and lets go. The pillow cradles his head and gives a little more. The sheet feels smooth under his fingertips, like warm stone made gentle. A bell far away waits a long while and offers a single round note. The sound opens space, then fades into the kind dark. He lets small scenes pass in a slow and simple line. The courtyard at dawn, the first touch of water to his forehead, a fresh loaf tearing with a soft sigh, olive oil shining in a clay dish, chalk lines on a slate porch, each stroke clear and plain. The olive tree in the academy leaves bright in one square of sun, the harbor oars lifting thin light that follows and rests, the cove's pale threads rising to greet his breath and drifting back. The lamp in the temple steady as a second heart, the moon's narrow boat gliding under the oculus. Each picture opens, fills, and gently closes. None of them press, all of them soothe. He notices his body grow quiet part by part. Toes relax and forget to curl. Arches loosen in the memory of warm stone. Calves sink into a pleasant weight. Knees find their easy angle and stay. Hips settle like smooth pebbles in soft sand. The belly floats. The ribs widen a little on the inhale and fall home on the exhale. The throat feels open, like a small round window to the sky. The jaw hangs easy. The tongue rests wide and still. Eyelids lie soft and the tiny muscles around them go calm. The fountain's thread keeps company with his breath. In his mind, it becomes a small, clear channel running from his chest to the courtyard pool, from the pool to the canal, from the canal to the harbor, from the harbor to the quiet, open sea. The city's glow moves along that channel in tiny pulses, never bright, always kind. The pulses match the way his breath comes and goes. It feels simple and good. A soft breeze lifts the edge of the shutter and lays it back down. Laurel leaves outside stir once, then rest. The lamp near the niche burns without flicker. The blue bead in the shelf keeps a cool, calm spot of color in the dim. The note on the clay dish waits, not asking to be read. The words are already inside him. The small lights gather when the breath softens. He does not repeat them. He feels them as an easy shape. If a stray thought rises, it meets the city's rhythm and loosens. He thinks of the temple steps and they turn to warm marble and shade. He thinks of the bronze gates and they turn to a safe horizon. He thinks of the underwater arch and it becomes a doorway with quiet seagrass at its feet. He thinks of the girl's gentle hello and it turns into a soft glow that asks for nothing and warms everything. He lets the breath lengthen one small measure more. Inhale, steady and light. Exhale, longer and smooth, like a tide sliding down the sand. The mattress accepts the change and supports him without asking for any work. His shoulders spread and soften. His spine rests in a gentle curve. His hands grow warm and heavy. Each finger loosens at its own pace and then forgets to hold on. The bell waits again, then sends a single tone that seems wrapped in cloth. Between that note and the next, the city rests in full. The canals hold their low glow. The harbor speaks only in little sips of water against stone. The observatory dome keeps watch with kindness, not with weight. Homes like this one breathe in their own time. The night spreads out and settles like a blue cloak. Thalos lets go in the same way. He does not push sleep to come. He does not look for it. He turns toward it the way a plant turns toward light, slow, simple, sure. The room softens at the edges. Sounds slip further away. The pillow feels like the quietest part of the sea. The sheet feels like a safe shore. His breath becomes the house's breath. The house's breath becomes the city's breath. He feels the last small wakeful thought rise and float like a leaf on still water. It turns once, it tips, it slips below, gentle and clean. The space it leaves fills with easy dark and steady warmth. The fountain threads on. The moon keeps its silent path. Thalos sleeps. You are safe and warm now, resting in the hush of water and light. Let your breath move in a slow, gentle way, like a small boat on a quiet canal. Feel your body sink into the coziness of your bed, calm and supported. If a thought comes, let it float past, soft as a petal on still water. The city is peaceful, the night is kind, the bell is far, the fountain is near. Feel free to drift off whenever sleep softly tiptoes to your side. The fountain's silver thread runs through the moonlit courtyard, along the glowing canals, past the quiet bronze gates, and up to the calm dome where Thalos's resting breath joins the city's gentle rhythm. If sleep has come, let it carry you deeper, where water and light keep their easy vows. If you are still awake, stay close to the hush and follow the same soft path until your eyes close. Subscribe for more nights like this and join the next story whenever you wish. The bell hums once, the water answers, and the night softens.